Right, well, this tactics video and unit showcase as well, and we're continuing on with the Adeptus Mechanicus series. So I'm gradually working through the different units that I have, and then these videos focusing in on specific units, going a bit more in depth with them. So if you're thinking about collecting this unit, using it in your AdMech army, then you can focus in, zone in on this particular unit here in this video. So in this episode I'm going to take a look at the Onager Dunecrawlers here. I have 3 of them in my army and I'm a big fan of them. I think they're very, very good. I think they're very cheap in points and very effective and pretty durable as well. So they're one of your mainstay units, a backbone unit, and yet I reckon pretty cheap in points. So if you do lose it in a game, it's not too bad. But we'll take a look at the rules for it here. Different combinations. There's quite a few weapon loadouts that you can do. This is my favourite here, but we'll discuss all of them. Roll up some dice a bit later on just to demonstrate to you how effective the weaponry can be. And then I'm going to zoom in now so you can take a closer look at the model. So there it is. Very unique looking model. This quad walker here does look very, very cool. Very iconic unit. The Adeptus Mechanicus for Skitarii. Great to have these at the back, providing some very long range and effective fire supports. I'm a big fan of this unit here. I've painted it a darker red. It's like a corn red that I've used here. It's different to the Skitarii red, the Evil Sunz Scarlet, like on the tunics of some of these models here. So it's a darker red. I've gone for the armoured units. So just painted up in that colour scheme. These transfers that you can see here, you do get a transfer sheet with the model. I've also been using the Skitarii or the Adeptus Mechanicus transfer sheet available from Forge World as well. Very helpful using that as well. So if you like the way this one's come out, if you like the basing on here, this sort of urban look with some grass just to introduce a bit of colour, there is an urban basing tutorial on the channel here, so you can check that out. And then if you like the way the models come out and you want to follow along step by step how to paint to this standard here to achieve the same results, then over on the Plus channel there is the Skitarii in-depth painting tutorial. I'll show you how to paint one of these Dunecrawlers from start to finish, just every step of the way, right the way from the very start to the end. You just pause the video and follow along step by step, and then you can paint to the same level here, no problem at all. This is a pretty quick technique and pretty effective, just using washes and highlights and so on just to achieve that effect. And then I'll show you things like how to do the transfers as well, the weathering, chipping, the basing I cover in that video. It's all included in that in-depth painting tutorial on the Plus channel. So there he is. I have this one and 2 others armed the same, but we'll take a look at them in the rules now for 8th edition and with the new codex. So I have chapter approved here because it's a new codex, but they did update the points here. So bear that in mind when you're checking your points there, Adeptus Mechanicus. Just there, I don't think it really... No, I'm just checking. I don't think it affects any of the rules really for these. No, it's affected other units and other war gear. Not so much the Dunecrawlers, but be aware of chapter approved. That's 2017 edition I'm using there. So I think especially if you're in a Skitarii themed army, you'd be greatly lacking if you didn't have some of these in your force. I've gone for 3 of them. I think if you have 1 of them, it gets blown away. You don't have any on the table. If you have 2 and you lose 1, you've only got 1 left. So 3 of them I think is quite good. If you lose 1 of them, you still have a good presence of them on the table. So they come under heavy support. And I cover tanks. You know, other tanks, your sort of main battle tanks, sort of 200 points area. These are coming in about 130 points. They're very, very cheap tanks indeed. And I think the weaponry on them is fantastic, and they're just as tough as any regular tank that's out there. So they're power level 7. They come in at 90 points. So yeah, and they're 90 points. In this video series I'm also going to cover things like stratagems as well, that you can use just to give you an overall tactica for this unit. Onager Dunecrawler then, 90 points, and you have to pay for the weapon system on top. They run into a chart here. The top bracket is, they have 11 wounds, 27 and 11 wounds is 8 inches movement. So usually pretty slow, but pretty quick here. 8 inches is pretty fast. So they're not slow really, and that's not too bad. Ballistic skill 3+, nice healthy ballistic skill, and then 3 attacks. You used to be able to do more of them for combat, but I just forget the idea about combat for these. The idea is to keep them out of combat, not to use them in combat. They're a gun platform, so tactically just always bear that in mind. Keep them away from trouble. They can do that and be effective because their weaponry is such a long range. You can keep them away from the opponent's units and then still be effective. You're not going to lose anything by staying a distance away, and then using screening tactics, putting infantry and other units around them to stop deep strikers from coming in, stop assaults from coming through, is the tactics used, or I try and use, to protect them. So often when I play, you'll see these at the back, anchoring the back line and trying to protect and preserve them, and trying my best to stop anyone trying to contact them in combat. The idea is to have them firing as a gun platform every turn that they're alive during a game, and that's how you can use them most effectively. So 11 wounds, they then drop down to 6 inches, 4 inches as their movement gets slowed down. Their ballistic skill drops as well, all the way down to 5+ in their attacks, but it's not really relevant. But the lowest damage bracket is 1 to 2 wounds. You really have to hurt them to knock them down to that lowest bracket. So that helps with their durability. They have a 3-up armor save, which is just like a regular tank. Leadership 8, toughness 7, so as tough as a regular tank. Strength 6 as well. It's not really relevant because it's not focusing on combat for them. And then there's plenty of special rules for them. Some very, very good special rules. And then here's their weaponry that you can take. So I really chewed over this, and it's controversial that the system. I've gone for the Icarus R8. Everyone's saying take neutron lasers, that's the route that you should go down, but I think the Icarus R8 is a strong choice as well. I know a lot of people disagree, but a sort of more of an all-rounder, which is sort of the gap in the army that I needed. I have gone for the Icarus R8. Neutron laser is a very close second choice. So we'll cover the weapons in a moment, just to cover these abilities here. So Canticles of the Omnicide is affected by those benefits. So some of them are actually really good, especially for this one of them here for this vehicle. So Shroud's Arm, for example, units affected, so it's going to affect them gain the benefits of their armor saving throws as if they're in cover. So their 3-up save becomes a 2-up save, which is exceptionally helpful, really, really good. So there's some good ones, reroll ones for shooting as well. There is available here, which again is helpful as well. And that's about it. So the others not so much, but so Canticles can grant them some benefits. The Eminentus force field, and the amount of times this has really helped them out, it definitely adds to their durability, because they will be targeted by heavy weapons like las cannons and so on, melter guns, that kind of weaponry. Eminentus force field, 5+ invuln save, and that's a third of a chance of blocking any kind of shot coming through unless it's mortal wounds. You can reroll invuln saves of 1 if it's within 6 inches of at least one other friendly Onager Dunecrawler. So that's the incentive to take more than 1. If you get 2 or 3 of them, so I usually see that, you know, tactically I'll keep them near each other. There's a little fire base, so 1, 2, 3 of them. They're all granting the rerolls to each other for their force fields, and again that does help as well. It just statistically adds the chances of blocking those shots from coming through. You know, you've got a las cannon shot, it's going to cause potentially between 1 and 6 wounds, and then if you block it with the 5+ invuln, it really does help out. Not going to stop all the shots, but it does reduce the effectiveness of the weaponry against them. So that has helped out a lot. It does come with smoke launchers. I often forget that, but smoke launchers are available for these things as well, to add another layer of protection to them. Then it does, this isn't an upgrade that you pay for, it comes with the broad spectrum data tepper. Units within 3 inches, this is your infantry as a screen. If of any friendly models equipped with this upgrade at the start of the morale phase, add 1 to their leadership. So +1 leadership for all of your units, great bonus as well. And then Crawler, and this is fantastic. This model can only advance D3, but I don't usually need to move them. I very, very rarely need to move them quickly. They move 8 inches anyway, but I don't think I've ever advanced one of them, because they're just designed to usually sit still or adjust slightly to get a good firing position. That's about it. So slow on the advance, but ignores the -1 penalty for hit rolls, moving and firing a heavy weapon. That's absolutely brilliant. It really is good. That -1, so they're going to be on that 3+ to hit and not suffer that -1. There's the explodes rule as usual. Just their units within 6 suffer D3 mortal wounds, which isn't so bad, not as bad as other exploding vehicles. So I think the starting cost for that we've covered with all those special rules and that strong standard vehicle stat line is 90 points. Very, very cheap. So then you've got these options here of adding these different weapon types. This is a Tactica video here, so we'll cover all of them just so that you can weigh them up for yourself. So the first one is the Eradication Beamer, which I think is a cheaper option. It's 30 points, so it's only 10 points cheaper than the Icarus Array. Range 36, which is okay. Heavy D6, so that is very random. You're looking at 1 shot or up to 6 shots. And then Strength 8, which is good. -2, which is okay. D3 damage, which is not that deadly. And then when attacking units within 12, changes weapons type to heavy D3. So you get less shots on average, but you resolve the shots with an AP of -4 and damage of D6. So I'm not so sure about that weapon. I think it's a weaker weapon. You know, it's potentially more deadly with the -AP and the D6 damage, but then you lose the number of shots at that close range. But then being at that range is sort of it's not a healthy range to be at. If you're firing at targets within 12 inches with one of these things, the target's too close. And I think you need to be effective at longer range. So I think the Icarus Ray and the Neutron Laser are better options. Yeah, definitely. So the Eradication Beamer, not really, I don't think so. Again, leave it in the comment section if you found success with that weapon, but I don't know of anyone that's used it. I think it's the weaker option. Just there. So Eradication Beamer, not really. I think at longer range, the Icarus Array and the Neutron Laser are better at long range. And then, yes, it may well be more effective at close range, but you've got to get dangerously close to be effective with that. So no. Icarus Array is next. We'll do the Neutron Laser here first. Yeah, so the Eradication Beamer is the standard weapon. And then you can go for a Neutron Laser and Cognis Heavy Stubber, so you do actually get the stubber with the Neutron Laser, or a twin Heavy Phosphor Blaster, or an Icarus Array. So we'll cover the Heavy Phosphor Blaster next. Range 36, same as Eradication Beamer. Heavy 6, you're guaranteed those 6 shots. But the strength is strength 6. -2 and 1 damage. Units attacked by this weapon do not gain any bonus to their saving throws for being in cover. It's a very, very weak weapon, to be honest. You just struggle to wound vehicles. The AP is not that strong. It's only 1 damage. So unless this is significantly cheaper, this is the Twin Phosphor Blaster. Yeah, no, Twin Heavy Phosphor Blaster, 30 points. No way. So definitely a weaker option, that one. So I wouldn't go for that either. No way. So it does narrow it down to the Neutron Laser with Icarus Array. So Neutron Laser, bear in mind you do get the Cognis Heavy Stubber, which is just your 3 shots, strength 4. And then the Neutron Laser upgrade. Now I'm wondering, let's just check here, it's 45 points. This is the more expensive option. So 45 points, that's 135 point model. And then you would then have to go for Cognis Heavy, so we pay another 5 points on top of that. You have to take that as well. So 140 points. Yep. Now, 48-inch range, so it's a longer range. Very good. Heavy D3. So, yeah, sometimes you're going to just get 1 shot with these things. Other times you roll well. You roll 5 or 6, you're going to get 3 shots. That's when it becomes deadly, if you roll well enough. Imagine 3 shots coming, because then they arrive at the target at strength 10, so you'll be on freeze to wound pretty much all the vehicles that are out there. AP -4, so you're going to bypass most armour. A Land Raider is going to drop down to a 6-up save after that modifier. Then it's D6 damage, and then it's very reliable here. Damage rolls of 1 and 2 become a 3 instead. So you're always guaranteed 3 damage, which makes these weapons deadly enough. So it is good. But I think the Icarus Array can be just as deadly, but the strength I see of the Icarus R8 is the ability to gun down more targets. I mean, I'm specifically thinking of things like jet bikes, Primaris Marine, models with sort of 2 or 3 wounds. I think the Icarus R8 potentially is more deadly. And it can target those types of units and then still hit heavy vehicles as well. So I'll do that next. Icarus R8 costs 40 points, so it's 10 points cheaper in total than the neutron laser, so it's 130 points. Very, very cheap vehicle, but an excellent weapon system. It comes with a Daedalus missile launcher. This is sort of your heavy missile. Range 48, they're all range 48. All these weapons fire at the same time. Heavy 1. Strength 7, so you will force to wound most vehicles. AP -3, and it is D6 damage, so it's nasty enough. Then you get the Gatling rocket launcher. Same range, heavy 5, so you're guaranteed 5 shots. At strength 6, AP -2 and 1 damage. And then I found these quite effective. The twin Icarus autocannons, 4 shots of this at strength 7, AP -1, and it's 2 damage a time with that as well. In 7th edition, I still took these, but in 7th edition it used to be snapshots only at ground targets, so 6s to hit, and I still used to do okay. Now it's +1 to hit targets that can fly, and then just -1 to hit all other types of targets. So that's an exceptional improvement with those. It really is good. And then what you can do to enhance this is put a character in there, a character like Belisarius Call. He can go in there granting rerolls to hit, so 4s to hit rerolls, still very, very accurate firepower. And as I was talking about earlier about jet bikes, there's no -1 to hit them, they're not hard to hit. So then if you're on +1 to hit them, then you're on like 2s to hit jet bikes, or jump infantry, jetpack, tower crisis battle suits, those kind of targets you're on 2s to hit. Fantastically reliable firepower. And say you've got a unit of crisis battle suits, you could fire your Gatling rocket launcher first, strip away some drones, and then Daedalus missile launcher, autocannons hitting the battle suits, that kind of strategy there, loads of shots. But same situation, crisis battle suit team, you swing your neutron laser to fire your raw dice, you get 1 shot, you're not going to do, it's not going to cause as much trouble. So the neutron laser is very sort of large target specific. Icarus R8 I think is more of it's decent against 1 target. They can focus all the weapons against it, but you can also spread them to multiple model targets. So I see that strength there. I've got other units like the Imperial Knight to deal out sort of specific anti-armor, and I want the Dunecrawlers to give sort of a broad array of firepower, which I think the Icarus R8 is the best for that. But it's a debate that goes on, because I say a lot of people would be in favour of the neutron laser. I do see its strength. I've seen it being used in our Apocalypse game that we did with Winters. The neutron laser was deadly. It really is a decent weapon. If you roll really well, if you get 3 hits and 3 wounds, you're all of a sudden looking at AP -4 and like 3d6 damage. It's utterly horrific. So in Apocalypse games, they're deadly enough against the Lord of War type units. So I'm not underrating the neutron laser, but sort of for the role, for the need that I have, I've gone for the Icarus R8 instead. Leave your own comments and feedback. If you're an experienced AdMech player and you have experience with these weapon systems, then leave your own comments and your own judgment there on what you decided to go for and how effective it's been. But that's the 2 loadouts. But the choice is really, out of those 4, is the Icarus R8 or the neutron laser. So that's the unit. I'd mention stratagems. So tactics to enhance them first of all. So I usually I keep them at the back, and they're just a gun platform which they're able to manoeuvre without any penalty and get into position and fire. Nice long range, especially the neutron laser, the Icarus R8, range 48. So you usually have a target for every turn of the game. The crucial point is to keep them away from units that will get too close to destroy them with firepower or to assault them and thus prevent them from firing. So another tactic is to screen them and protect them as much as you can. So that helps because you're keeping it at the back of your army, and then I have units out in front to stop deep strikers from coming in and to prevent units trying to charge. And if you're able to keep them firing every turn uninterrupted, that's when they start to pay for themselves really well. And if you keep them alive, usually I find I win the game. If they're alive at the end of the game, constantly firing, they usually do. That usually means the victory is going to be there. The other great thing about the Icarus array is you're not, who knows what kind of targets you're going to have to deal with towards the end of the game. Maybe all the heavy firepower's gone, there's a few jet bikes around, a few heavy infantry. The Icarus array is sort of a weapon system that's able to deal with any type of target, handy for mopping up and finishing off enemy units. So it's another reason why I think the Icarus array is a good all-round weapon. So yes, there will be times I've fired it at a land raider, fired it at a predator and done next to no damage. Other times, the Daedalus rockets got through, the autocannons have done well, and you've really hurt a vehicle. So it is random, but usually pick up some wounds pretty well. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. The other cool thing about Skitarii or AdMech vehicles is there is Machine Spirit's Revenge here. Use the strategy when one of your Adeptus Mechanicus vehicles is destroyed. Do not roll a dice, the vehicle auto explodes. Such a cool stratagem, that one. I haven't used it yet, I've been waiting for the day to use it. So if you do get caught out in combat, you can have a bit of revenge and detonate yourself if you're destroyed. Very good, that one. I really like that. Yeah. So that's a good one. So that's about it, really. Yeah, no, there's not so many others I really have an eye on. The main bonuses I'm taking from the characters. You always see the characters nearby. Belisarius called will be nearby, granting these 3 rolls to hit. And also the Tech Priest Dominus as well. And they're there to help with shooting and also to help with repairs as well. They take damage, absorb damage, and then they're there to patch up these vehicles, keep them fighting, the 3 of them, just administering mechanical help to them. So they're 130 points a time. I think they're an absolute bargain. Just they're very, very cheap and a deadly gun platform, but the crucial point is to keep them away and out of trouble and just let them fire every turn, and then they become really good. So screening them here, sometimes I'll have, or usually I'll have a unit like Rush Stalkers nearby. If a threat comes in, I'm able to send out a unit to cover them there. So say he's firing away, I'll test out his firepower here. I'm not expecting him to fire and destroy this, but I'm expecting to pick up some wounds. That's the main aim. And then to endure, to absorb damage, be repaired, and then just chuck out the wounds every turn, and then just gradually grind vehicles and flyers and so on. Good anti-aircraft cover as well with these things. Very, very helpful as well. So let's fire the Daedalus missile launcher here. I'm going to add in, let's just say this HQ here. So Daedalus missile launcher has missed. Gatling rocket launcher here, I've got those hits, and those wounds have come through. That's very good. These are at -2, so on 5s to save 1, so 2 wounds come through here. So, and then we have the autocannon, 2 hits, force to wound. Yep, 2 wounds come through, force to save 1, that's 2 more damage, so 4 wounds caused. So not expecting him to cause damage, but wounds starting to come through, and you can triangulate your firepower and get another one of these firing. If it's a high enough priority target, fire another one there, drop off another 4 or 5 wounds, fire the other one, and they just grind the targets down, and they themselves are quite hard to destroy. So that's the kind of idea with them. So that's firing everything at a single target. But then equally, maybe not such a great example here, but we'll use these Orc boys just to give you an idea of a multiple target threat here. So yes, they can fire at vehicles okay, or a single, like a monstrous creature or something, but they can also cause trouble for units like this. So Daedalus has hit, has not wounded, strength 7. Gatling, 5 shots here, reroll at 1, and then 2 wounds come through, it's minuses, so that's killed 2. And then on these regular Orc boys and the autocannons, here, reroll that one, and another wind comes through and it's -2, another one killed. So they can start picking off models. We'll do another one. So Daedalus hits, wounds, that's going to be a straight kill there. Gatling, reroll, just giving you an idea. Freeze, yep, 3 more, and then the autocannon has missed apart from 1, and that's caused another wound, that's -1. So he's gone, so you've halved the strength of that. So they can chip in and help with targets. That's a very weak target, you know, cheap models. But, you know, so the Daedalus shot, the autocannon's sort of being wasted on that. But targets like Meganobs, for example, would be helpful. Anything like Primaris 2 wound or, models, that kind of thing would help as well. Jet bikes, still thinking jet bikes at 2s to hit. Reroll 1s, exceptionally reliable. So that kind of gives you the idea of the firepower. I could go neutron laser one day, just magnetize this. I've saved the parts, so I could stick a neutron laser on there. Another idea is you can mix and match them. So you could do 1 of these or 2 of these with Icarus R8s, and then 1 of them with a neutron laser. Or because they're so cheap, you could take 4 of them in your army and have 2 of them equipped this way, and 2 of them with neutron lasers, and then you've got that balance there. Then if you need the neutron lasers for specific targets, then you can go for that. I probably would have gone down that route if I wasn't taking the Imperial Knight, but because I have the Imperial Knight, a lot of my anti-armor firepower is based on that model, so I haven't needed the neutron lasers so much. But especially if you're going for a standalone AdMech army, and especially if you're going for standalone sort of Skitarii theme, then definitely you will need the neutron lasers to take on the tougher targets for sure. It is a deadly weapon, but just the army structure that I have, I've gone for the Icarus array. But that's the Tactica here, the showcase video and Tactica. So on the regular channel now, there is the whole army overview, so you can see the whole army laid out now for the Adeptus Mechanicus, 2000 points, 8th edition. And then just remind you for the painting tutorial, if you want to follow that along, that's over on the Plus channel. The link is in the description below. But there it is, that is the Tactica and showcase video, the Onager Dunecrawler. Leave your comments and feedback, your own experience that you've had, your own advice, especially if you are an experienced Adeptus Mechanicus player. But there it is, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.